Hey guys, it's Thomas here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up the Eheim Professional 4 Plus canister filter. Let's start with what's in the box. First things first, let's cut off the retaining strap with a pair of scissors. Then we are going to open up the box. Inside, right on the top, you're going to see the tubing, and down the side, there's a few other parts like the suction cups. There's also the Eheim manual and service information. Also going to find the intake, spray bar. Then we're going to lift this guy out. Once everything's out of the box, you should have a roll of tubing. It's approximately 8 feet. You should have an intake pipe. You should have an outflow pipe. You should also have the spray bar and stopper for the end of the spray bar. You're going to have 4 suction cups and 4 clips. You'll have rubber feet for the bottom of the canister. You'll have the hose clamps, and you're going to have the intake guard. You'll also have the Eheim manual and the warranty and service information. Let's get all of this out of the way so we can prepare the canister for setup. Next, we're going to open up the canister and unpack all of the media. Some of it will still be in plastic bags, and we're going to need to take it out of those bags in order to prepare it for installation. So I'm just going to lay all the baskets out right beside the canister. So as we can see, the biomedia is still in a package here, and the Substrat Pro biomedia is still in the package there. So we're going to unpack these, we're going to go rinse them in water quickly, and then we're going to put them back in the trays. Now that our media is rinsed and out of the packaging, it's time to reinstall the trays into the canister. Now that it's all reinstalled, it's time to get the canister over to the aquarium so that we can get the tubing sized to length, cut up, and all the hardware for installation installed, and then we'll get the canister running. So next thing we're going to do is get right in front of the aquarium with the filter. First thing I'm going to do with this is get the rubber feet on the bottom of the canister body, because there's nothing hooked up to it right now, and it's going to be the easiest time to do it. Just going to flip it over, and just one little foot at a time, get them right into place. These feet are going to help absorb a little bit of vibration and just give it a nice little soft cushion for the canister to operate on. That's it. Get it back up. Now I'm going to go grab the tubing and the other accessories so we can get all of this hooked up to all of that. All right, so next up we're going to get the tubing and we're going to attach it to the valve block and just going to drape it over the edge of the aquarium, and then we're going to cut the tubing in half. Right now it's one big long piece. We need 2 pieces, but just to make sure that we've got the right length we need, I like to attach it first and then cut it. Just makes it a little bit more easy to work with. So we have our tubing. Drape it up over the edge. Then we're just going to attach it on here one at a time. When you're putting it on, to make sure you can get it all the way to the bottom, you can either warm up the tubing first, which makes it slide on pretty easy, or you can just walk it back and forth down the barbed fitting, just by wiggling it back and forth as you push forward. Then we're going to go ahead and put the clamp on the tubing. We're just going to do that by pressing on the red release button, making sure that the valve block is shut completely to the off. It'll pop right up for you. Then you're just going to hold one piece on the back, and then you're going to put one piece on the front here. Just like that, and it's going to hold the tubing in place. Push the valve block down, clicks back in, and you've done it. Now that the tubing is on the filter, we can get our scissors and get ready to cut it. I like to work with the canister sitting in front of the aquarium and sort of pretending that the front pane of glass of the tank is going to be the back pane. It's a lot easier to do this on the front side of the aquarium versus the back because you usually have a wall right there, so trying to sneak tubing up the back and do all your measurements on that side is a little bit cumbersome. We're going to do it in the front. It just makes things a lot easier for you. So what we're going to do is hold the tubing up, and then we're going to cut it exactly in the halfway point. So I will just figure out where half is on this by holding it up and then give it a good snip right there. There you go. Now we have two tubes, an intake and an output, which is actually marked right on the back of the canister behind the tubes. You'll see a little arrow for one side, which is going in, and then the other side, which is going out. Now we got to go get some more installation parts to continue this installation so it is installed on the aquarium. Now that the lines are on the back of the tank, what we're going to want to do is separate them as far as we can on the aquarium comfortably. What I mean by that is if you have a really, really wide tank and you can't get the lines all the way to the corners of the aquarium, you're going to want them to sit just a little bit inwards because any sort of pressure you have with really tight lines is going to go all the way down to the valve block on the canister, and it could put pressure there and cause a leak, which you don't want. You want just a little bit of slack, not big honking loops either. Those aren't good. Just a little bit so that the canister can move around comfortably in the stand and sit there without any pressure on the valve block. So with them sitting in the corners, if you find you've got a lot more tubing than you need, you can go ahead and trim that now. We're going to need a little bit of tubing anyways just to make some connections on the pipes. So let's go ahead and cut these tubes and get those ready for install. So given that I know I'm going to want a little bit of slack, I'm going to be trimming about this much tubing off of this side, which I'm going to save because I will be using it in a little bit. And I'm going to do the same on this side, just a little bit of tubing. Perfect. Next, we're going to get our inflow and outflow pipes, and we're going to get them installed on the tubing. So make sure you get them on the correct side of the tubing. The last thing you want is to have the inflow on the outflow or vice versa because it'll prevent the canister from working correctly. Again, you just want to wiggle it on or heat up the tubing a little bit and it'll slide on really easy. Now with the tubes in place, we're going to go ahead and get the spray bar ready and get the intake screen on. The spray bar simply needs you to take the little spray bar cap on the end and plug the hole at the end of the spray bar. You'll notice one end has little ridges. That's for the tubing. This side is to be plugged. So just go ahead and get her in there and plug her up. Ah, there we go. Next, just take the intake screen, put it on the bottom of the tube, and it snugs on there really easy. To get the spray bar on the outflow pipe, we're going to need a small piece of tubing, which is provided with the large piece of tubing we got. So we're going to go ahead and just cut a small 2.5 to 3 inch section of tubing that we're going to use to attach the spray bar to the outflow pipe. And here we have it. So, simply enough, there you go. Next thing we're going to do is get these suction cups ready so we can suction cup them in place. With the suction cups still in their packaging, I like to take the clips and get one clip in each suction cup while they're really easy to hold. Next, we can separate them. Then one at a time, just get them out of the package. And then onto their corresponding tubing. Two for the spray bar. And then there's two for the intake pipe. We are almost done. Installation is nearly complete. The next thing we're going to do is take the lines and the double tap off of the canister. We're going to swing it down the back of the aquarium, get the canister under the stand, and then hook it all up under there. Now with the lines ready to go down the back of the aquarium, we're just going to press the red button on the front of the Pro 4, pop that valve block up. We can pick it up off the aquarium here, swing it down the back of the tank, and just put the lines on the back of the aquarium where they belong. Now if we reach down in under the stand, we've got that valve block again, and we can just hook it up to the canister and get that canister right in the stand. Now that the lines are on the back of the tank where they belong, we can go ahead and suction cup them in place. Doesn't matter which side you start with. Again, you want to try to keep them as far apart as possible. So I'm going to have one on one end of the aquarium and then one on the other end. When positioning the spray bar, it's always good to position it a little bit upwards. You don't want it straight down. You want it just a little bit up so that it skims the surface of the water, creating surface agitation, which is going to help oxygenate the system. If you're going to have other water motion devices in the aquarium, like a bubbler or a power head, rippling the surface of the water, creating that oxygenation, you can then take the spray bar and point it downwards into the aquarium to help stir things up and push them towards the filter intake. Now that the canister is completely hooked up, the lines are on the tank, all the media is already unpackaged on the inside, it's ready to go. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that the valve is actually open, because you can't prime it with a closed valve. So we're going to stick it on the on position. With that done, we're ready to hit that priming button a few times and get the water from the aquarium flowing down to the canister. Once it's completely full, at that point we'll plug it in. So let's take a look at that priming button and press it a few times. Now we're just going to reach in under the stand and hit that priming button a few times in quick succession. You'll notice as the canister is priming that bubbles will be rushing out of the spray bar. That's basically the air within the canister purging out as water fills the canister and replaces it. Now it's time to plug it in. Don't be alarmed if you see a few bubbles come out of the output. Sometimes there's a little bit of air trapped in there and it'll naturally purge out as the canister pushes water through itself. This is also really common with brand new media. Well guys, that's it. It's really that simple to get this canister running. For demonstration purposes, we used a 20-gallon aquarium. Obviously this canister is meant for a much larger tank, but that's all we needed to show you guys the simplicity that is setting up this filter. But if you do find you have any questions, feel free to drop those down in the comment section below. We'd love to get back to you. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got new videos coming out all the time. And as always, keep on tanking with a canister filter from Eheim that says Professional 4 on it, because it's a good one. I love it. First things first, let's cut the restraining tap. You should also have the outflow pipe. Outflow. You're also going to have the clip clamp, clippity clamp clamps, clippity clipperson, clampity clip clips, clop. Hose clamps, and you'll